Thanks for joining for this webinar. Today's webinar is going to be more of an interactive session where we want all our friends who are aspirants for ACCA to know more about it and from people who actually matter. We have with us Frenil D'Souza, who has been teaching ACCA students past 5 years, and Mr. Shubham Rao, who has been practicing ACCA past couple of years. He is with KPMG past 5 months, and he has been with Grant Thornton too. So he is with 3 years of experience in internal audit for companies in manufacturing, real estate, and talent management industries. So thanks, Shubham, for joining. And thanks, Frenil. We would be getting to their perspective in a little while. But before that, let's get to what ACCA is about. Just get a feel of it, and then we will get from the horse's mouth how it's going to be. What it is as a tutor, from the student's perspective, from a practicing professional, and also from the institute personnel who is going to join us very shortly. So ACCA is nothing but Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. I hope everybody knows the full form of this. It is an association, it's a group of certified chartered accountants. This is a global professional accountancy course. Because it has got international recognition all over the world in many countries, almost 180 plus, this is a global course. It is not restricted to one single country. So the opportunities are definitely much more than other courses which are restricted to single country. The opportunities involved are in the fields of accounting, finance, taxation, and auditing. We all know that accounting is somewhere related to all of these aspects. So anybody who has done ACCA has wider opportunities in each of these fields. You could play the roles of a financial accountant or a management accountant or a financial controller or a finance manager or a tax specialist or an auditor. Each of these roles can be played by an ACCA depending on the specialization you do and the work experience you gain. But ACCA does give you these wider opportunities, wider roles which you could play, and that too internationally and globally. It's a complete finance professional course. Employers trust ACCA because the course is not just about subject knowledge, but it also gives you a wider perspective with skills and professional ethics. It makes you completely employable for these important roles in any company and in any country for that matter. There are much bigger benefits when you do this ACCA because the employers from Big Fours and MNCs, multinational companies, are always ready to take ACCA professionals. It has international placements. It is not restricted to one single country, or it is not restricted to a physical location also. It is something which gives you an opportunity to stay at one place and work for MNCs and Big Fours because they have a lot of international operations. And this being a global and a professional course, it's got an excellent pay structure and a pay scale which you can all look forward for. The steps involved in an ACCA is at a 3 level. You have to pass exams like any other course for that matter, where you have 3 levels and each level has some papers which you have to clear. Each level you will clear one at a time. You clear one level and then go to the next level. We'll get to what are the levels and what are the papers in a little while. But the first step involves passing of some exams. And the second step involves completing the ethics module, ethics and professional module, which you need to complete, which has got a 15-hour module with 10 units, which will ensure that you have some technical skills and efficiency skills, which you will do it through this module. And the third step involved in ACCA is to gain practical experience. So you need to pass exams, complete the ethics module, and then gain practical experience. Practical experience adds a lot of value. That is the reason why ACCA has become so prominent and it's got a wider acceptance from the employers. You need to complete 36 months of practical experience under an approved supervisor. Now, these supervisors could be anybody who's got an accountant under the IFAC or somebody who is already established as an supervisor for this practical experience. The roadmap which takes you to ACCA is you should ensure that you're eligible for it. either you are doing your 10th or 12th or graduation, BCom, commerce graduation, undergraduation, you need to be eligible to enroll yourself and register with ACCA. That involves you having with an aggregate of 65% in mathematics or accounts and English, and a minimum of at least 50% in all other chosen subjects. Now, after 10 plus 2, if you have this minimum aggregate marks in the respective subjects, you can always register for it. And the registration is a one-time registration. After that, you have is annual subscription. Now, then after the registration is what you will enroll yourself for your exams, which are computer-based examinations at 3 different levels. You have a knowledge level, you have skill level, and you have professional level, strategic professional level. Knowledge level has 3 papers, skill level has 6 papers, professional level has 2 essentials, that is compulsory, and 2 out of 4 optionals. So in professional level, together you'll be writing 4 papers. So all put together, you have 13 papers, exams to clear. Now, these exams have their own exemptions and all if you are pursuing some other professional course or have completed graduation, which we will get to know later. The next thing which you need in this journey of your ACCA is to complete EPS module, that is Ethics and Professional Skills module, which is a 15 hours module. In this, essentially, you will be learning about employable skills, how you're going to achieve yourself those skills which are required for employment. When you go into a company, how it's going to add value to that company, that's what you're going to do in this module. You're not just going to study about subject knowledge in ACCA, you're also going to have skills, not just professional skills, but also ethical skills which are required to operate in a corporate or a company. After this is the last step is to have your practical experience requirement of 36 months, which will have 9 performance objectives which you need to fulfill, which you will get to know as you start your practical experience. Like I mentioned, there are 3 levels of examinations in ACCA. The first level being knowledge level, which has 3 papers: business technology, management accounting, and financial accounting. This is basic steps, the first steps which you need for your ACCA as a professional accountancy course. The next level you have is of skill level, where you have 6 papers. Each paper probably you'll have around 3.25 hours, 3 hours of exam time duration, and you would be given a few of the objective and scenario-based questions. And each of this, whether it is corporate and business law, performance management, taxation, financial reporting, audit and assurance, and financial management, these are a little more advanced than what you have seen at the knowledge level, where you have seen BT, MA, and FA accounting papers. These papers at skill level will test more skills in this. You'll have a scenario-based question at each level where you will be analyzing different scenarios and learning it at depth of these subjects. The next one, what you have is the third and the final level of strategic professional level. Now, this has 2 essentials, that is strategic business leader and strategic business reporting, and the electives or the optionals is you have to choose 2 out of the 4 optionals given to you, that is advanced financial management, advanced performance management, and advanced taxation, and advanced audit and assurance. Now, these will test you on how you're going to actually, in practical scenarios, how you're going to apply your knowledge. And that's how you're going to learn more. And it is always preferable for you to do your ethics and professional module before you take up your strategic professional level, because what you learn there will be applicable and can be applied here. Now, these are the 3 levels of examinations which you will have to take. Now, like I mentioned before, you have exemptions. Now, exemptions are available for knowledge and skill level for different professional aspirants, but you do not have any exemptions from the papers of strategic professional level. ACCA wants each and every person, whoever is enrolling for ACCA, to complete this strategic professional level exams, because these give you more knowledge and application of these subjects which you have learned all through these levels. Now, knowledge level and skill level, you do have exemptions. Now, if you have completed your graduation, you will be getting 4 papers. Now, if you complete your CA, Inter, you will be getting 4 papers. You will be, if you had completed your CA final or a CMA final, you will be getting 5 papers of exemption. Now, if you complete your complete CA, you will be getting both knowledge level and skill level, all 9 papers exemption, but you will have to write your strategic professional level. Now, what are the challenges? Like every path you take in a professional course does have some challenges. If there are no challenges, then it won't be a professional course. The challenges broadly are categorized under the pass rate for ACCA is, knowledge level is still higher at 70%, but the other levels are 35 to 40%. So you definitely have to strive and prepare yourself well to pass this. And each paper needs a 50% minimum marks as pass rate. So you cannot get anything less than 50 and claim yourself to be passed. So for you to pass this exam, you need 50%. And the time management is very essential because these exams can be scheduled 4 times a year. Now, this exam cycles are quarterly. Every March, June, September, December, you can have these exams. You can choose when you want to write your exams. But if you have to see that, you want to attempt as many papers as possible in each quarter, you will be having only 3 months to prepare for your exam. Now, that it's very important for you to plan well and complete your preparation and give that exam. And even during the examination, you will have lot of scenario-based questions where you need to really analyze. It is not simple that, okay, you're just given a simple question and you answer and you're done with it. Now, you have lot of these scenario-based questions apart from the objectives which you had. For instance, the paper for applied skills module is 3 hours plus. And in that short time span of 3 hours, you have to solve 15 MCQs, which are 2 marks each, and 3 10-mark questions, and 2 long questions of 20 marks each. So you literally get 1.8 minutes per single mark you need to achieve. So you really need to manage your time both for your preparation as well as for your examination. And also that these are, like I mentioned, it is not a simple paper of direct questions and all. You are given case studies, case scenarios where you need to analyze and apply all that knowledge which you have learned and solve that answer and give a solution to that answer. So that is also a challenge which you need to face in ACCA. Now, when we look at the career orientation of an ACCA, it's very good. It's an international course, but it also provides you, the ACCA Institute has tied up with a lot of approved learner partners. These are the partners of ACCA, establishments which are going to help the students in preparing for their examination. These are going to guide the students. So it's not going to be all that tough. If you have guidance from these ALPs, it's really going to help. And the best part about ACCA is it not just makes you employable, it not just makes you ready for employment, but it also gives you an access to such approved employers. There are 7,300 plus employers who are associated with ACCA all over the globe. So this platform is being provided to the students of ACCA, which helps you, to continue your profession, continue your career in a better way. And as mentioned earlier, these have global placements. So this is a career which you should be looking forward for. Now, who are these approved learning partners? Approved learning partners are those establishments who help you in pursuing your ACCA smoothly. They provide you with tuition, they provide you with student support, they provide you with guidance. They are allowed to give you fee concessions, which helps you in financial assistance. They are always monitored and associated with ACCA Institute so closely that you would get your updates and recent developments very easily and as early as possible. They help you not just in preparing for the examination, but they also make you job ready with their guidance and support. They are also helpful in connecting you with your approved employers or other employers such that you do not waste time after you finish your course and you get directly in reach of your employment. Now, Indigo Learn here is very happy to announce that we are going to be in this league very soon. And this Why should you choose Indigo Learn for ACCA is because we have experienced faculty who not just think about teaching you and leaving it there, but they provide you with guidance every minute, whether it is your queries or whether it is your mentorship. Everything you have this experienced faculty helping you with. We have expert guidance at every level. You've already used any of our app services, you would be already knowing that we provide with forum queries, resolutions as early as possible in every aspect, and we give you a proper answer and a guidance, not just a simple thing which will just finish it off. We have online live interactive classes planned, so there is an interaction, and also your doubts can be cleared then and there, and you will get a proper uh, mentorship and guidance at that in those classes. You have app-based personalized student guidance. We have OneFin app, which helps you not in planning your papers, planning your preparation, your forum queries, your all other aspects related to the subjects, which will help you a lot. And our approach towards ACCA is going to be a success oriented approach for exams, such that you complete your preparation, appear in a well prepared way, and come out successfully. Now that's the aim, as we have always said, student first, and we always believe in learning like never before. So that's going to help you in understanding and clearing ACCA exams and becoming more job ready and employable as at the earliest. Now, this is what we at Indigo Learn are promising to do. Thank you. That was a brief on ACCA, what it is about. And you can always subscribe to ACCA by OneFin on YouTube and reach us at support@indigolearn.com or call us at our support number 964-011-1110. Now, that was the brief about ACCA. Now, I would request Frenil to please enlighten us on the students' perspective, because you have been interacting with ACCA students for quite some time. Thank you.
So just a second, just to add more context, students, Suraj this side. Frenil has been teaching ACCA students for quite some time. Okay, so he has trained hundreds of students, and we have one of his student also along with us who would be sharing his experience. So Frenil will be largely talking about how is ACCA and what can students do, how is it different from chartered accountancy course. A lot of you are CA aspirants. So those aspects is what you will be touching upon. So over to you, Frenil, all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Suraj, and thank you, Sudha, for introducing me and giving me this opportunity. Okay, the ACCA as a course, any course which is given by an independent body, for that matter, has its own peculiar features. Now, whenever a student comes to us being faculties for counseling, there are certain questions that they usually ask. And the first question that any 18-year-old student has in its mind is, how difficult is the course? Whether this course is really difficult, right? So he will have, of course, if at all you are going away from the conventional courses such as chartered accountancy, and you know about ACCA already, it happens that you don't know only about ACCA, you have read about some other courses with ACCA also, and you want to compare which one is easier, which one is difficult, because you're in that phase of life, right? So the difficulty about a course, I want to address that first. And you have to understand that difficulty of any course depends upon the course structure, right? The course structure of ACCA is much flexible compared to the other courses which are there, which are being offered by other bodies. Let me tell you why. Because here you are able to approach one paper at a time. Now, approaching one paper at a time has two major advantages. One, you are increasing your the chances of getting clear in that paper. Secondly, that you will be devoting most of your time towards one paper, and that makes you well versed in the topic that you're studying. See, if you're juggling with 4 or 5 different subjects at a time, then it becomes quite difficult for you to completely go in depth to a particular topic and understand it. So there you have advantages, two advantages. That is about the course structure. Secondly, you have to understand that ACCA examinations are not like the other examinations which are conducted by other bodies. Let me tell you why. Because the level of accuracy, what is being expected out of students, is not to a arithmetical accuracy which is confined with other courses. For example, if you consider chartered accountancy for that matter, and you are answering a practical oriented question, and you are writing an answer, and at the end of the day you don't get to an answer, there are certain ways the evaluation is open ended to the rest of the person who is evaluating you. But in case of ACCA, the questions are mostly into a scenario based or circumstance based questions, and you will be able to give your view, and the reader is going to go through it and is going to correct based on what you have written, right? Whether it adds value, or whether it actually makes sense given the context of the question. So that makes again ACCA, and for a person who is analytical, who is studying the topic, who is understanding the concept, the exam is going to be extremely easier. And next, the thing that I want to cover about the difficulty is that the leeway for improvisation. Can you improvise on a question? Can you give away your knowledge when you're writing a particular answer? Let me give you an example. Now we all know that there is a NPV calculation question which is comes in capital budgeting in chartered accountancy, and it comes in financial management for ACCA, and even at the AFM level in the professional level of ACCA. Now when you are calculating NPV, there are different the calculations that we do. At the end of the day we get to an answer, and even after getting an answer, whether there is a way in which you can explain more about NPV and whether the examiner will consider that fact. If you look at accuracy based papers or accuracy based courses such as chartered accountancy, there is no leeway for you to improvise on a question. But in case of ACCA, there has been circumstances where students have been awarded marks for that. So you have to understand that there is a lot of leeway for improvisation. So it not only boosts your confidence. If you see a bigger question of NPV, you'll just be scared about it. That case does not happen in ACCA because you have a option to improvise on a question. So that is with regard to the difficulty part of it. Secondly, the most confusing part for students, let me tell you one more biggest confusing part, is which material should I go for, right? Because if you compare it with other courses offer their own books. Chartered accountancy offers their own books, and CMA India offers their own books, CS offers their own books, but ACCA gives you the syllabus. And there are different publications which come up with the textbooks, such as there is Becker, there is BPP, there is Kaplan, right? Then there are furthermore few books, right, which you can refer for your examination. But if you look at it very closely, you understand that certain books are very comprehensive and difficult and knowledge oriented, but there are some books which you need to read only if you don't have enough time. That is most of the cases with the students, right? So at the end of the day, one month is left. Until then you are not serious, and suddenly you want to study for ACCA, and at that time if you pick up Becker book, what will happen? Everybody knows, right? So that comprehensive book will make sure that your time is a lot of time is spent on that. So there are certain books like that. There are certain books which are easier, so you have to refer to the books based on the time that you have plus the knowledge that you want to get. But another biggest problem there is a comprehensive material doesn't cover the maximum a type of textbook that students actually want. What I used to do is, we used to have a study material, then we have a fast track study material, then we have a day study material. Three kinds of materials we derive from only one syllabus, and that makes the examination much more easier for the students. That is, to study detailed, you have a study material. To study it in a revision method, you have a fast track material, and to revise what you studied in one day, there is a day material. So with that, what happens, if it comes from single institution or single author, then you'll be able to correlate and learn that faster. So that material question thereby answered. So then usually students ask one more question, that because in level you can answer any paper given in that level, right? There is no order in which you have to answer a particular paper in a level, right? So which which paper should I answer first? That is a usual question that students ask. So basically, see, there is a pattern. The pattern is very simple. As your financial reporting paper is connected with your auditing paper, it is suggested that you write those papers back to back, right? You write financial reporting and then you go for auditing paper. But if you look at papers such as financial management or taxation or performance management, we call it as costing, but in ACCA we refer to it as performance management in the skill level, and in professional level as advanced performance management. So you can write those papers independently and you can choose the order, right? So usually what we do is we get the usually difficult papers off in the first shot, right? We get these papers off first, and then we go to the papers where we can structurally approach that particular paper. So that that will help the student in better approaching the examinations. Then usually the comparison happens after writing 3 or 4 papers. Students usually come and ask, how is that course compared to this? How is this course compared to that? Usually they compare it with chartered accountancy. Let me tell you that if you have to compare a course such as chartered accountancy with ACCA, that comparison is not easily possible, because the entire course structure is different for chartered accountancy. It is different for ACCA. For example, in chartered accountancy also there is a 3 years articleship which is required, which is going to be changing after November 2023 for some sectors. I'm not going to cover that, but in ACCA also you need 36 months of professional training. But only difference there is you have to do your articleship in CA after your inter examination, whereas this professional experience you can get it at any time in ACCA, right? So that there is a difference. And secondly, about the grouping of the subject, there is a big difference. Here you can give one paper at a time, whereas in chartered accountancy you can give it group wise, and if you even fail one paper you have to write all the papers again. I don't have to repeat it in chartered accountants what happens, but in case of ACCA what happens, you will be able to write one paper at a time. You have 3 months to prepare for a paper, revise that paper and write it, right? So there is enough time for you to concentrate, get the knowledge, practice and go to the examination hall, rather than prepared half. Because for other professional courses where you have to write group wise examination, you have to go through this severe 4 or 8 subjects of coaching. Then you have to go through the difficult phase of revision, where you start forgetting everything and you revise it again and again, and then you don't know, half things is done in one paper, 75% is done in another paper, lot of confusion at the end. Those things will not arise here, because if you are attempting one paper at a time, you can concentrate your full time over there. So these are the basic differences between the chartered accountancy course and ACCA course. I guess that covers most of that part. So over to you, Suraj. If there are any specific questions with regard to that, I will take it up. You're on mute.
Pranil will let you know. One thing is we are comparing this with a CA course because a lot of you are pursuing CA. Okay, some of you are at CA Foundation, some of you are at CA Inter. No way are we saying that one course is superior to another one. Each one has its own peculiarities, as Pranil has discussed. Okay, so one question what some of the students have pinged me is that how long will it take for someone to complete ACCA? Let us say he's completed his graduation. Then how long will he take to complete the ACCA program?
Yeah. So here what happens is, usually the way which is taken by the students is they approach one paper at a time, but there are people who approach even 4 papers at a time. So it depends upon how many papers that you're willing to take in a particular attempt. You want to take more papers, you want to study in those 3 months, because what you're going to get from exam to exam is 3 months, and in that you want to take, let us say, 2 papers, you'll be finishing it much faster. And if not, if you're approaching only one paper, it is simple math. That is, the number of papers you have to write multiplied by 3 months will be your the time that you will take for the purpose of finishing ACCA. But there are people who have finished it within a year also, right? So who have written all the 4 papers. I have seen chartered accountants who have taken up ACCA and finished 4 papers in one shot. I have seen that kind of scenario also. Plus, I have taken people. I have seen people who have taken 2 papers at a time and cleared it in 1.5 year or so. So the time varies based on how many papers that you take for a particular attempt.
Yes, I think I can also add my perspective. After qualifying CA, I did CIMA. It's also based out of UK, and I could complete that in a year's time because I wrote one exam now, and another 6 months another exam, and another 6 months another exam. So Rajveer, are you already having some professional qualification? If you can mention that, then I think we'll be able to throw some more light on package with ACCA. Yes, there has been quite a good demand for ACCA from global delivery centers. What we'll be also planning a session with EYGDS. Okay, so if you are just a graduate and if you have an ACCA, graduate plus ACCA, if you compare, the one with ACCA will definitely have a better command. Not only because of the degree, because also of the orientation that you will have towards a corporate job. Okay, so if you compare BCom, only BCom, and someone with a BCom and an ACCA will definitely have an added advantage. Yeah, Sudha, you can please continue.
Yeah, Suresh, thanks. I think I'll request Shubham now to give a perspective from a professional himself. How has ACCA been, and what are the what's your perspective of ACCA? Because you had completed your ACCA and now practicing ACCA.
Yep. Thank you, first of all. Great to be here. Great to have an opportunity to speak on this. So following on from what Frenel covered, I would like to also cover some really important aspects which would be a little more into what we need to do in ACCA. So just a couple of questions that I feel do persist in students' minds in a lot of scenarios. First question usually being, once you have gone through the roadblock in your mind, that is this tough, is it not, can I do it, and then you get into it and you're starting your journey with your first paper, probably the first question that comes to your mind is, are 3 months enough to prepare for the exam? So my approach on this is, generally each quarter of the year will see you attending classes and preparing you for your exam simultaneously. So it is very important that throughout the 3 months, you continuously invest time in ensuring that you're revising the concepts that are being covered during the coaching sessions. And this is extremely important, because if you don't follow what is being taken up during the classes, then automatically you suffer in your preparations. And because you get only 3 months to prepare for an exam, you need to balance what is being taken in the class, plus you need to balance the time that you are getting to then prepare for the exam. So preparing papers to your best ability, again, is not important only just for that paper, like how Frenel explained a while back, where he was saying that papers like your financial reporting and papers like your audit papers are linked to each other. So your preparation in the financial reporting paper will directly impact the outcome in your audit paper, because the reason I'm saying that is, like Frenel said, you have a lot of situational based questions which come up in these exams. So these situational based questions, especially in a paper like audit, require you to have a good hold or a good knowledge of the standards that are covered in the financial reporting papers. So it's extremely important that you pay attention in the class, you revise what's done every day, you prepare without any hesitation, so that you are ready by the time your 3 months are done for your exam. Again, the next question that students generally tend to have is, how many papers should we take in a sitting?
Sorry to interrupt, Shubham.
Yeah.
It's been 3 years since you're done your ACCA,
That's
right?
correct. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So also that, how long did you take to complete your ACCA? If you could start with that.
Yeah, no worries. So I started my ACCA in 2016. So yeah, I started my ACCA in 2016. And after that, I followed the system of giving one paper in each attempt. That helped me maintain my level of confidence for my exams. It let me, prepare sufficiently for my exam. So it took me roughly 3 years to finish it. That's how long. And also, when I gave my exams, we did not have SBL and SBR. SBL was 2 different papers back then. So I had one paper more than everyone here who will probably be giving these papers. So I had one paper more, so it did take me 3 years to finish my ACCA. And
Great.
I started my journey into my practical experience requirement after I finished my papers.
Okay. Yeah. So, and also that you were placed through ACCA, approved employers?
Correct. So how it works is that the ACCA portal or your My ACCA students, which is given to students as soon as they enroll as students with ACCA, provides you with a variety of tools which are at your disposal, right? So one of those tools is basically your employment opportunity tools. So when you sign up for it, on a regular basis, you get intimated on openings for ACCA affiliates or ACCA members or ACCA even students who are willing to join as trainees. So when I started out on my journey, I still remember I had an opening show up on the same page for an internal audit position in Grant Thornton. I applied for it through that, and very soon, I think about a week or so later, I got a call back from Grant Thornton, and that's where I started my journey as a professional.
Yeah, great. So you do agree that they do increase your employability?
Oh,
ACCA does?
definitely. Most definitely. I actually have a practical experience on this because after I started my journey with Grant Thornton, and it's very important that students here, once they finish or during their progress in their practical work experience, as and when you experience something, as and when you do something, as and when you learn something with ACCA or in work, increase your visibility, right? Find portals where you can increase your visibility. I have personally experienced it where I have used LinkedIn, Naukri, and I've spoken with in extreme detail about what I've learned in ACCA and what I've learned in work. And I've gotten offers from Deloitte, I've gotten offers from KPMG, Ernst and Young, so PwC also. All these firms are very, very willing to hire ACCAs, and it's extremely it's extremely happy to me that these firms are also willing to pay at par with CAs. So there is no question about your employability in the Indian market, in the big four firms even. And I'm not even talking about the GDS departments, I'm talking about the Indian divisions of these firms are very willing to hire.
That's really promising. I'm sure each one of us is very happy to hear from you directly who have experienced it.
Yep.
So yeah, thanks, Shubham. That was really informative and really promising for each of the students who are aspiring to become ACCAs. And congratulations on your journey and all the best.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for joining.
I wish everyone here all the best in their journey.
So Shubham, there is a quick question. Where are you working currently?
I am currently with KPMG. I'm a consultant right now with KPMG.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any other question you would like me to take up?
So there is a question on average package. If you would be able to, just broadly, and what would be an average package?
Yes, I can definitely do that. So I'll answer this question threefold, right? So if you are joining a firm as a BCom graduate and an ACCA student who's currently giving his exams, you will still be taken on as a trainee, all right? So a trainee will be almost at par with what you would expect an article's salary to be. And there's not much you can do about that, because at the end of the day, a firm is hiring someone to get the job done. So they will always look at your level of experience. Now, when it comes to the next level, where you're saying you're a BCom with an affiliate status, when I say affiliate status in ACCA, it means you've cleared all your papers from foundation knowledge to your professional papers. It's all done. You're done with all your papers. You're only left with your practical experience requirement. I referred a friend of mine who very recently obtained affiliate status, joined KPMG without any practical experience, probably just 1 month in EY GDS, is now joined the firm with a package of 5 lakhs per annum. And now if you join as a BCom affiliate, plus you're a member, you finish all your practical experience, there are firms willing to pay packages, you can say from 7.5 to 8 lakhs to even as much as 10 lakhs right now. And that's your starting salary. That's where you begin. as a
Thanks a
member.
lot, Shubham, for the for throwing some broader light on the salary. And yes, it also depends on the specific individual and person, but definitely this will give you a window to start your career in one of the MNCs or big fours, as Shubham rightly mentioned. Again, package for CA plus ACCA. Again, you can keep on adding, right? So it's not that CA plus ACCA will get a double salary, but still there would definitely be an added advantage of that.
Correct. True. Yep.
Thank you,
Can I
Shubham.
process ACCA simultaneously?
I'm
Uh,
sorry.
could you repeat your question? Can we get back to the questions in a little while? Just 5 more minutes and we'll get back to the questions. Thanks, Shubham. We'll just get back to you in for some questions.
Yep. No
We have
worries.
one more speaker who can add value to this webinar.
Yeah. Please. Yep.
Thanks. I would like to welcome Mr. Pawan Kumar, who is being part of ACCA, who connects with the colleges and approved learning partners in India. Mr. Pawan Kumar, thank you for joining. It's an
Hi,
honor.
good evening, all. Yeah,
Good evening.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. So, sir, could you just give us more perspective from the institute side?
Any specific question you want me to answer? That would be great. Any scenario-based question, because students will able to understand much better on those.
How global is this course? We all have heard that it is global and internationally recognized.
Yeah. Currently, we are working in 180 plus countries. Even if a student registered in India, he can write his exam anywhere across globe. Anywhere exam across globe. Example, if one student completed 9 papers and he is working with any multinational, somehow on a project work, he has been to Australia or even any South African country also. There, if you want to write his exam, he can book the exam and he can give exam there in that country. It is not required that again he need to fly back and write. Apart from that, even we have a remote proctored exam. If he doesn't find any center in the specific country which is not near to him, he can sit at home and he can write the exam. If he has a standard internet, it's a fully remote proctored exam. He can sit at home or sit at any hotel or office in a closed room and they can write their exam. That's the flexibility what we have.
Yeah, thank you, sir. What about the employment opportunities in the global market for ACCA?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because anyone who pursue qualification or time invested into qualification is for purely future perspectives only. Currently, we have around 7,600 approved employers across globe. When we say approved employers, these employers, they work with us in promoting qualification because they offer qualification internally in their workspace. Apart from that, even they recruit our students like EY, KPMG, Deloitte, PwC. These are our global approved employers. Now we are talking about Big Four. Now it is Big Five. GT, Grant Thornton also joined this club. GT also one of the biggest approved employer in India. Last year, around GT has recruited around 1,000 plus students in India. Likewise, in India also we have around 30 to 40 approved employers in India, where they are keen to recruit ACCA students. And even when they recruit ACCA students and affiliates and members, they give time to students to complete their qualification. If it is a student development program, they clearly give 15 to 20 days break for preparing for their exams. That's why we prefer our students to join ACCA approved employers. By that, even they can grow themselves along with the employer.
Oh, that's really nice. That means the student is thought about and is given an opportunity to complete the course.
Yes, most of the approved employers in this student development program, they are keen to support students by giving them 10 to 15 days break to prepare for examinations, and then they can join back.
Okay. So,
Thanks, Pawan. There is one specific question because a lot of them are CA students.
Sure.
Is the 3-year articleship that CA students undergo, is that also considered as a part of the experience requirement?
Sure, it can be considered. Only one form will be there in my ACCA. We can download it. Once they get this form signed from their reporting manager, existing reporting manager or earlier reporting manager under whom they have served these 3 years, even if it is multiple companies, multiple organizations, even chartered accountancy forms also, if they can get that document signed from the concerned manager or the team member, for sure it can be calculated. They don't need to do.
Thanks. So Rajveer, I think that answers your question that even if you're working in a big four, even as an article or as an employee, if your reporting manager fills that form, the specific objectives are met, then that will be definitely considered.
Even multiple organizations also, you can collect your experience and you can submit it. It's not like one single go.
Yeah, that is quite flexible for a student
Yep.
or for any professional in this era where we are going to have so many
Different
ways
types.
of, yeah. What about how many of the ACCA aspirants have to move out of the country or out of India for ACCA for jobs? Have they been employed internationally?
Okay. Most of the times, students, what they do, they in India, most of them they prefer Middle East because it's a red carpet welcome, and most of the students they feel it's a global passport because even ACCA provides career assistance through ACCA Careers website, where as on date you can see 78,600 plus jobs as on date lively available. If student is competing for that role, 100% he can apply online and he can start his journey globally. It's not mandatory to get a global opportunity. Even you can work with multinationals. Most of the international students also nowadays they are coming back to India because the kind of growth and opportunity available in India for ACCA is much more. Example, Bhavani Joyce, you can Google it. She has done her ACCA in South Africa. Now she is working with Infosys as a director, finance director, Bhavani Joyce.
So, how easily are they adapted into the organizations is approved employers when the ACCAs are taken from by the approved employers? Is there a difference between going to approved employer or elsewhere?
For an approved employer, the recognition will be very easy if you're going to join approved employer, and the package they offer also it is different. If you're
Okay.
going to a normal, if you're going to any finance company, the kind of package you get and the approved employer, the kind of package he offers is different because he understands the qualification and he knows the work culture and qualities and his knowledge of the student.
Yeah.
He understands all these things. That's why they offer little different from the regular market.
Okay. So it's always preferable to go through an
Yes.
approved employer because you would be more recognized.
Because in India also every month we are posting around 500 plus jobs in ACCA Careers portal. Most of the students they join through these approved employed program only.
Okay. So how is it growing in India? The opportunities for ACCAs in India is growing?
We are an 80-year-old baby in India. We say we are an 80-year-old baby in India. But as on date, if you see, we have presence in all the cities across India. And as I can say, we are growing at a very faster pace in India because of the dynamics of the qualification and flexibility of the qualification.
Great.
As on date, we have around 1 lakh plus students onboarded and they're pursuing ACCA qualification, apart from the members and affiliates.
That's really promising. Thank you, Mr. Pawan. We will now open the forum for the questions. And if there's any specific question which can be answered by you, I'll request you to do so. So friends, I think we are all eagerly waiting for the questions. Now, may I ask if you have any specific questions regarding the ACCA from any of us, please do post or you can speak up.
Ma'am, can I pursue SCA and ACCA simultaneously?
Yes, you can do that. I think we have already responded on that, Kunal. So you can pursue both of them simultaneously.
What was criteria to pursue ACCA?
So ACCA, you can start after your 10th, 12th graduation. If you have completed your CA inter, you get additional exemptions, right? So based on that, you can decide at what level you want to start your program.
Answer is ACCA better than CPA?
So I think initially also we had spelled out that we are not comparing two courses. Each one has a different job prospect, different opportunities. You want something in the US, maybe some firms may want you to be a CPA. Some firm may be okay with an ACCA. So we really can't comment, as a blanket thing that, okay, this is better and this is not better. Each one has its own path, own job prospects, own opportunities. and acceptance by employers. So you have to, maybe we can connect offline and then we can discuss this separately.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Also, Frenel, I would like to ask you, though we can write 4 papers in a cycle, exam cycle, what is the optimum number of papers one should attempt?
Looking at the students that I have taught in the previous things, that there are students who have cleared 2 papers at a time with very much good comfort. I have seen them clearing that, especially in the second level, that is skill level, what we talk about, that is very much possible. But when it comes to final level, it is always a trade-off. It is always a trade-off between how much knowledge you want to acquire about a subject and how fast you want to clear ACCA. If you want to compromise on one or the other, right, you want to finish it much faster, there is a way to do it. But if you want to understand, take it in and understand the concept properly, 1 or 2 papers is what I suggest. Is 2 papers is when you really want to complete it faster. Yeah, some just towards finishing it faster than 2 papers, or else 1 paper is what we suggest is good enough for a student.
Okay. And if Shubham, you also agree with that?
Yeah, I completely agree with the 2-paper approach. Generally, what students tend to do is that when they choose multiple papers, say for example, like Frenel said, 2 papers, what they tend to do is convince themselves that it's a good idea to skip a sitting, take a 6-month break, and prepare for the exam. My opinion, however, is it's always safer to stick to your 3-month routine. 6 months usually creates an impression that you have a lot of time, encourages lethargy. So in my opinion, always best stick to the 3-month structure, give your exams every 3 months and just keep the risk minimum, 1 or 2 papers, your best bet. I agree with Frenel.
Can you also give us the order in which we should take, whether it is knowledge level or skill level or professional level, which exams to write first?
Well, you don't have an option there. To be frank, you need to give your skills first. If you're a BCom graduate, you get exempted from your skill level papers. Obviously, again, ACCA has affiliations with multiple bodies. So depending on what affiliation you have in the past, you can determine what exemptions you're getting. So your skills comes first, then comes your knowledge level. So after you've completed your knowledge level, you go to your professional level.
Okay.
Because your professional level is extremely dependent on what you're learning in the knowledge level. It's an advanced version of that, right? So extremely important that you do well on your knowledge level there.
So there is a question on cost, right? So somebody asked, a couple of students asked how much will it cost and how many papers are there. See, the costing, right, comprises of both the tuition fee which you have to take from coaching institute, which is basically an approved learning partner, someone like Indigo Learn. And it also consists of the exam fee, and then you have some subscription fees and things like that, right? If you have same exemptions, then there are some exemption fees also that you have to pay. So I will give you a broad outline. Please, think of this as, plus or minus 10% or so, because there are exchange rates also involved, right? Because the fee is supposed to be paid in pounds, right? So if somebody were to join for ACCA immediately after class 12, approximately, okay, the total cost of the course, including the tuition fee, everything put together, including books, everything, will be between 2.5 to 3 lakhs. Okay, this is on today's prices, today's exchange rates. If someone were to join after doing their graduation, here when I say graduation, I mean purely BCom or something, without any CA inter or ACWA or anything like that, purely a BCom graduate, 20 years old, without any additional professional qualification, they will get some exemptions. And considering the exemption fee and all of that, the cost of the course will be anywhere above 2 lakhs to 2.2 lakhs, in that range broadly. And if someone does after CA inter, when I say CA inter, there is no single group, right? It is both groups put together. Okay, if you clear one group, there is no specific stuff. It is both groups, right? If you clear CA inter, then roughly the cost of the course, including everything, will be 1.75 lakhs or so. Okay, and finally, if somebody is already completed CA final, right, then the cost of the course will be close to about 1 lakh, right? So I hope this answers the queries which people have asked on cost. This includes everything. The numbers that I have said include all the costs that are involved in doing the course. Okay.
Thanks, Sriram.
Next question.
Yeah. Any other question? Any of you would like?
Can I just take up one question that I'm reading right here? I
Sure.
feel like this is something I come across on a daily basis with students. So I think Pawan Kumar is asking about a question wherein we are seeing in very recent times BCom colleges are offering courses which allow them to have some affiliation with ACCA, in which you get a 9-paper exemption. You're exempt from your entire knowledge base and you start off directly preparing for your exams in your professional level papers. So Tarun, my advice to you here from a very, knowledge based and learning based perspective is that it is a better approach to probably avoid the exemptions, take up the coaching, study the subjects, and then attempt your professional papers. I personally have interacted with colleagues in my workplace who have taken up these exemptions and have then found it a little difficult in their professional based exams because they have missed out on the entire or complete exposure they would have gotten in their knowledge based exams. Like, for if I just had to give you an example, a paper like financial management, if you decide that you want to select advanced financial management as your professional level paper, it tends to suffer a bit if you have not had the base of your financial management knowledge paper. So it is always better to follow the due course of taking your time with all of the papers, preparing for them, giving the exams, and then attempting the professional papers. Tarun, I hope that has answered your question.
Thanks, Shubham.
Yeah.
So there was questions which I think will working with Big Four and simultaneously giving ACCA exams, will that be considered as work experience? I think it will be, right, Mr. Pawan?
Yes, very much so.
It will
Yes.
be.
Yeah,
At the time of qualification, before qualification, after qualification, all these things are covered. At the time of qualification, it is covered.
And as you mentioned, multiple employers,
Yes, multiple employers, multiple job roles. But it has to be a finance stream. That's the criteria.
Yeah,
That's it.
Okay,
I think that's a fair ask.
Yeah.
So you're asking about fees. Everything need not be paid upfront. Okay, there is some amount which you have to pay to the ACCA Institute for registration. Then, as per the coaching options you choose, you will have to pay to the coaching to the ALP. And then at the time of exams, you'll have to pay the examination fees. For all of these, so there would be some discount and all available if you are enrolled with an authorized learning partner or approved learning partner rather. So it would depend, and it's not that there is a commitment upfront of 2 lakh rupees that you have to pay at the start itself. If you want for further details on that, you can get in touch with our team, and we'll be happy to help you on that.
And Mr. Pawan, there was a question earlier from one of our students, not that in this forum, but it was regarding they had enrolled while doing the graduation and they have not completed it, the ACCA exams, but meanwhile they could complete their graduation. So now can they claim the exemptions?
Okay. No, it will not be possible because ACCA, once they register, they take that student from that route only. If he has registered after the completing his graduation, would have been got 4 papers. But now, as per ACCA, we don't accept it. The student has to complete all 13 papers.
Okay. So whatever is the criteria would be decided at the time of the registration.
Admission, yeah, at the time of admission, that same criteria follows.
Till they complete their ACCA.
Yeah. Even if any student has any query also, they can write it to ACCA, any students@accaglobal.com. If they have their query, even they can add, in that mail, they can add their certificates and all. Same reply they'll get from the ACCA body also.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Any of you have further queries?
There's a question about working in listed company. Yes, if you are working in the accounting and finance domain, those specified areas of work, if you have worked on those areas, those will be counted as practical experience before applying for ACCA admission or after being admitted into the course. Whenever you have done it, you need that 36 months of practical experience.
There was a question on total how many papers in ACCA. That was 13. 3 at knowledge level, 6 at skill level, and 4
professional level, 4 papers.
Yes.
In that professional level also, there is an option. If somebody is looking out for auditing, it is specific auditing papers are there. If somebody is looking out for taxation, we have different for tax. It's according to the student wish, they can choose the option.
Yeah. For taxation and law, we have versions, Mr.
Yeah.
Pawan. Could you just elaborate on what are these versions which we talk about when we talk
International and England, two versions available. International, what we suggest is what we suggest to the student is to go for international, because they can work with any country, because international laws are same. They can understand the basic local labor laws and laws easily, financial laws and labor laws very easily. That's why we suggest, if somebody is looking out for European Union specific jobs and all, they can go for UK variant. What we suggest is, as per your requirement, you can choose the option. Even we have different variants, China variant, Singapore, South African, different variants are available. But on a broader perspective, we suggest you to go for international. If you are specific, then you can go for UK.
Okay. And also regarding exemptions, like you had mentioned that at the time of registration, at the time of applying for ACCA itself, the institute, the criteria is decided. So can they pay upfront for all the exemptions they can claim? Or do they have to pay at each level?
One advantage with the Indigo learn is, if student directly go and joins the ACCA, they need to pay full paper exemption. Example, a BCom grad who is working with any of the organization in a finance team, he wants to pursue ACCA. The BCom grad, he'll get 4 papers exemption. He'll get 4 papers exemption. For that, he has to pay entire 4 paper examination fee to claim those exemptions. But if he is joining through Indigo Learn, the waiver fee, he'll get a fee waiver of 85%. In a single go, he need to pay for 4 papers, but he'll get a waiver of 85% fee.
Okay.
If he's going to join with Indigo Learn. That's the advantage. But at a single go, he has to pay. Once his registration has been finalized, student will receive an email invoice saying that this is your exam. These are the exemptions you have received. Please pay this examination fee to proceed the qualification. Once he pays the fee, then he can start the qualification. He can write other papers. If he doesn't pay now, at the time of booking examination, he has to clear this invoice, and then only he can go for the examination.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks.
And is it exemption a choice which the student makes, or is it compulsory to take the exemption?
It's purely his choice. It's purely his choice. What I suggest is, I'm working with this organization from last 5+ years. What I suggest is, go for a full-fledged course. If he is a CA qualified, I'll suggest for 9 papers, because they are already professionally qualified. They know the rigor of the qualification. They know how tough it is. That's why for them, they can go for only 4 papers. Rest of all students, okay, CA intermediate students or CA final students, I suggest them to go for exemptions. Rest of all students, please be ready to prepare for all the papers, because the kind of knowledge. Example, I can say, you are building a house. Will you build a house without foundation? No, right? You need to do first foundation, then you need to lay the pillars, then slab, then you will construct next floor. That's what I suggest you. Start from the foundation. Okay, even it may take some time, 8 months time, but the basics of the concept, and you'll be very, 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 very strong enough to handle day-to-day situations in your going organizations.
Shubham seemed to be agree with this completely.
I fully endorse that.
Thank you, Shubham.
Thank you, Shubham.
Yeah, and Frenel, do you think that the classes for CA are enough for ACCA, or?
Now that's a very difficult question, because the question itself, the pattern of questions is completely different, right? You write a paper which which gives, for example, in CA questions, a 16-mark question is broken down into 8 different parts of 2 marks, 3 marks, 4 marks, and each questions, they might be connected, might not be connected. It could be relating to one scenario, or it could be related to 10 different scenarios. But what happens with ACCA is that the questions are more practical oriented, right? So you get a scenario will be given and you'll be asked several questions with regard to that. So, you could be good in one section, you could not be good in another section. That will not, create a problem for you. So here the approach towards the question itself is different. Probably let's say that in a CA question, one question you can finish reading in, let us say, 10-15 minutes. But in a ACCA scenario, what happens is, to read the question you have to take a lot of time, because the questions run along a few pages, and you have to sit and understand. So your preparation for CA might help you in calculation, in understanding certain concepts, formulas and all that, but approach towards examination is something which is very different from CA compared to ACCA. So there the requirement of having a approved learning partner comes into place, because you need somebody to tell you how to approach the exam.
Thank
So
you,
just
Fernando.
to add on to
May
that,
I?
I
Sorry.
had also
Okay. Yeah,
written,
Yeah, Suraj, go ahead. I think Pawan will add after that. Pawan, I think you can add. You were
Yeah.
trying to say.
Because in CA exams, mostly you maybe have attempted CA exams. It's all pen and paper exams, and ACCA exams are purely computer-based exams. When I say computer-based exams, it's not multiple choice. Descriptive and multiple choice both are involved. You need to have the practice sessions, because this practice sessions will be guided by approved learning partners only. Why? Because every when you're keying in your question paper, when you are answering your paper, specific time management also you need to learn. That's why approved learning partners, what they do, they insist students to go for multiple levels of mock exams. By that, they can get practice for writing the exam, and even they can test themselves before going to exam whether they are ready for the go or not. That is the key role of the approved employer. 100% your CA knowledge will 100% will be able to clear the paper, but these skills are required. That's why you need an approved learning partner to do the journey of ACCA.
Thank
so
you,
just
Pawan.
to add on to that, I think at the wrong time the power went off. Okay. So one thing what I experienced is, taking up a UK based course was the concept that I learned in CA definitely helped me understand the concept, but writing the paper, writing the exams was very difficult, very different, and the approach, very, very different. In fact, at the final professional level, I ended up only scoring 50%. Okay, at CA, though I was all India first rank holder, but then when I wrote my, CMA, that final exams, it was only 50%. So concepts, yes, definitely, but how to write the exams, how to answer the questions, how to understand the questions, there you need someone who has an experience of understanding scenario based question, case based study question. How do you solve a practical real life problem? So when you reach to the professional level, you'll be given problems to solve, where you have to take knowledge from at different levels. That is where Shubham was emphasizing that you need to have a good knowledge even at different levels before you write the professional level exams. So the kind of solutions you provide and all of that would be very different, and you need someone to mentor you and guide you so that you're ready for the examination. Yeah, Sudha, you can.
Yeah, thanks, Suraj. Mr. Pawan, is there any time period within which you need to complete your ACCA? Once
No,
enrolled?
nothing. No, nothing specific. Nothing specific.
So there is
But
no.
what I suggest is, if you clear as early as possible, you can get a better opportunity. It's
Yeah,
purely dependent on student. Yeah.
The sooner the better. Don't want to
Yeah,
lose on the
definitely.
opportunity.
Yes.
Thank you. And also that the subscription fee is annually required for the students also.
If you are going to join with a learning partner like Indigo Learn, you'll get some waivers. Don't worry on subscription fee, as I can see. Once you become member, you need to pay, because any professional body across globe, they charge it. Being an international body, you may be paying little higher because of conversion rate. But if you are in UK or any other country, you'll be paying same currency. But when you calculate with Indian currency, it looks little higher. Don't look on that perspective. First, start your career, then you'll understand it will be going to very few peanuts only, I can say. I should not use this word, but it will be a peanut.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Shubham, how your comment on this?
Got me smiling.
Yeah, that's why I requested you.
Yeah, I had the same experience that you're mentioning. Obviously, I've always held the opinion that after I did become a member, it started feeling like every penny I paid, the subscription fees, whatever I've paid so far, it's worth it. And it doesn't really hit you because you are so well off, you're doing well.
CPDs
So
also will help you do your professional development even after the qualification also, as you know. Regularly we do CPD program, continuous professional development program. That's
yeah.
why we charge it from the members, affiliates and members.
Yeah. I'm sure that's going
And
to
if you can negotiate well with your employer, maybe your employer can sponsor your membership fees also.
Correct.
Suraj,
That's it.
that's
I have
all.
had that happen. That's actually true. My membership fees was reimbursed by my firm.
Yeah,
Grant
so
reimbursed my membership fees.
Because
So that is
approved
also an
employer
option.
program, some flexibilities are there. That's why we prefer approved employer program.
Yes.
Great. Thank you. That's really promising. I'm sure all the participants and the students who have joined us today are really enlightened and cleared a lot of doubts, all those apprehensions before starting their ACCA. Thank you, Mr. Pawan, Mr. Shubham, and Mr. Frenel for joining us and guiding us through this, all our friends. Thank you and good night.
thank you, everyone. Now we'll have more such sessions where you will be, getting more insights and enlightenment into this. Do subscribe to the YouTube channel, that the link that I have posted, that would help you understand the things that are happening and the things what we do, various details that you would need, that would be available there. Sudha,
If you have
just
any more
hold.
questions, please ping us at support@indigoland.com and we'll get back to you.
Yes.
If more questions.
Thank you.